England's 2026 squad for the World Cup is under a lot of scrutiny, and Thomas Tuchel, leaving the likes of Phil Foden and leaving the likes of Bellingham out of the squad, has raised a couple eyebrows. So he said to me, Mids, I can't take the pressure. Please, can you give me your 26-man squad for the World Cup next summer? Because I don't know what to do. And I said, sure. I said, sure, Tommy Tuchel, I can do it for you. So as you guys can see on screen, we have got a tier list, and we're going to be doing this from who's going to be a key player for England, who's most likely going to be starting, players that will definitely come on and impact off the bench, a couple bench warmers to make up the numbers, versatility, locker room type players, and players that will stay at home or have long-term injuries. So without further ado, let's get into the squad. Make sure you guys comment down below and go along. Some of my player picks for key player probably starting. Are they off? Players I'm saying stay at home. Should they be bench warmers? Let me know everything. And don't forget to subscribe to join MB United. But without further ado, let's go. Cool. So as you guys can see on screen, we have got so many different players to choose from. We have got 57 England players to choose from. This is going to be a hard job. But let's start with the goalkeepers. And I feel like the goalkeeper is the easiest position to do for England. Jordan Pickford, the number one. He's, of course, going to be a key player for England at the World Cup. The next two players that I would choose for the World Cup, I'm definitely going to say Dean Henderson. And Dean Henderson, again, you know, keepers don't really come off the bench, but we're just going to say off the bench because he definitely is England's number two. The performances he had for Crystal Palace, not only this season so far, but last season, especially in the FA Cup and the Community Shield wins, proved that Dean Henderson can perform at the highest of levels when trophies are at stake. And he's a great penalty saver. We definitely need that in the tournament. Now, my third goalkeeper, I'm not going to choose Nick Pope. I'm not going to choose Aaron Ramsdale. I am going to choose James Trafford. And James Trafford, I'll just put his bench on because the third goalkeeper never really plays. Like, let's be real. He's there for a free holiday, maybe a free medal as well. Who knows? But James Trafford, he's not going to play. So that is the three goalkeepers sorted. Pickford, Henderson, and Trafford. Now, if we move on to the defenders, I would say that are key players. Number one is the one who swapped Merseyside for Madrid, and that is Trent Alexander-Arnold. And the reason why I say he's a key player is because the ability he has on the ball is second to none. I don't think there's a fullback. I don't think there's many players that when it comes to pinging long balls, when it comes to striking a dead ball, crossing, can be as accurate as he is on a consistent basis. And in tournament football, sometimes you need the help from a little dead ball situation. And I feel like Trent Alexander-Arnold is, you know what I mean, he's that player, he's mustard. The next defender I'm going to say is a key player for England in 2026 World Cup team. I am going to go for Mark Gahey. And the reason I go for Mark Gahey, and maybe not someone like a Harry Maguire just as yet, is because Gahey, I think, has not only the strength, but the maturity, you know, being a Crystal Palace captain as well, making numerous of caps for England in recent times. I feel like he's going to be very key for the way Tuchel wants to play. I feel like the player that's going to be just as vital as him is going to be Ezri Konsa. And again, I don't know if I should put him in key player. I'm going to put him in probably starting because it could be a thing of, you know, Gahey and Maguire, or it could be a thing of, you know, Gahey, Konsa, someone else, who knows. But Konsa, every season, has been improving so much for Aston Villa. I think over the last 2 seasons, people could say that in the Premier League, he's one of the most improved upon defenders in the league. Definitely for England. And I feel like those two will have a very good partnership for England. The next 2 defenders I'm going to choose is definitely Harry Maguire. He's probably going to be starting, maybe in the middle, who knows. And then I'm going to put Levi Colwill, and I'm going to put him in I don't know. And the only reason I'm going to put him in I don't know is because he's injured right now. He's done his ACL. I don't know if he's going to make it in time to, you know, I guess have as many minutes under the bag, as many, you know, games that he can get his sharpness, get his fitness back for the World Cup. But if he was completely fit, I would actually say he's probably starting. And that's because watching Levi Colwill on the ball is amazing. He's a comfy, left-footed centre-half. And I think he's everything that England have been crying out for, to be fair. We haven't really had that many left-footed centre-halves in recent times. Like, people like Connor Cody, Max Kilman have got in, and I personally don't think they should. Levi Colwill could cement himself over the next couple of years, depending on his fitness, depending on how many games he gets for Chelsea. He could cement himself as one of England's most important centre-halves. I really believe that. As I said, I already picked my 3 goalkeepers. So Nick Pope, I can't remember your name,
Sam
Aaron
Johnston.
Ramsdale. You guys are all staying at home. You're going to be streaming it. DAZN, ITV, Sky Sports, you name it. Next is Reece James. Reece James, I honestly think he is, on his day, one of the world's best fullbacks because of everything that he can do. I don't think there's even that much of a I don't think there's that much of a flaw in his game. I don't think of anything that is a standout flaw that he needs to improve on. On the ball, he's sensational. He's got a decent amount of pace. He's very strong. Defensively, he's good. Going forward, he's good. He's very intelligent. But I don't think he'll be a key player. But I definitely think off the bench, kind of in the middle of these two. I'm going to say off the bench because I think in certain games, James might get the nod ahead of Trent. Especially when, we do perhaps come against the likes of maybe a France, maybe a Germany with like someone like Adeyemi on the left-hand side. Rapid pace, someone who's going to be needed to defend his trickiness. Reece James could definitely do that. And again, this all relies on him being fit because over the last, I don't even know 5 years, he's definitely struggled for fitness. Kieran Trippier, stay at home. I'm not even going to divulge into that. Honestly, it speaks for itself. Kyle Walker-Peters, story's the same. If it was a couple years ago, it might be different, but I don't think so. Rico Lewis, on the other hand, I am going to put him as an I don't know. And the only reason I'm putting him as an I don't know is because with Tuchel, the way he likes to play with his wing backs, Rico Lewis fits the bill. He definitely does fit the bill of what type of player Tuchel does like. But who knows? Next up, we have Tino Livramento, who I personally think, again, off the bench, I think he's a very, very good player, very versatile player. He can play right back and he can play left back. And I feel like England need all of the different options for different games, for different opponents, if you want to make it far in this tournament. So for him, he's definitely going to make it, but off the bench for now. Tyrick Mitchell. Now, this case is a bit similar to the Kyle Walker-Peters one. If it was a couple seasons ago, 100% I would say he should be there because for a point in time, he was one of England's best left backs that they had to offer. But I think this tournament, unfortunately, he has to stay home. And again, same as Luke Shaw. I'm tired of seeing Luke Shaw. And Luke Shaw is a tired footballer. I'm going to say stay at home, bro. Honestly, I'm going to say stay at home because I don't think he deserves to make it to the 2026 World Cup. Next is Lewis Hall. And Lewis Hall he's an interesting one. I'm going to put him in I don't know. And that's mainly because if he does have an absolute blinder of a season for Newcastle, then I think he should definitely make it to America for the World Cup. But there's one other player that I'm going to choose ahead of him, and that's mainly because he's been in sensational form and he's been called up to the England squad. He's done his job as well, and I don't think it will hurt to have him in the team. I'm also going to say no for you. Sessegnon, I'm going to say no. And O'Reilly is an interesting one. He's an interesting one because towards the end of last season, I was thinking, why the hell have Manchester City got a goalkeeper outfield? Because this brother is tall. He is like 6'4", 5", something stupid. But O'Reilly has really impressed me. He's really, really impressed me at left back for Man City. And I honestly think again, this one depends on, who has already been picked in the rest of the 26-man squad. But I'm gonna go for I don't know. I'm going to go for bench warmer. Because I think O'Reilly can really do the business for England. I don't know if the call-up or the tournament is coming too soon in his development, but for Man City, he's been doing the business, and I really, really do like what I have been seeing from O'Reilly. So I'm going to leave that for now as a bench warmer, kind of in the middle, and then we just kind of got to see what he does for the rest of this season. Now, the next player, Miles Lewis-Skelly, I'm going to put him as probably starting. I think Lewis-Skelly is a player that everyone is kind of realising how good he is. He's not actually a left back by trade. He's a central midfielder. But Thomas Tuchel absolutely loves him. And the way he plays is perfect for Tuchel's system. He's got so much strength on the ball, composure. His intelligence is there at such a young age. And when we've seen it for England as well, he's rarely put a foot wrong. So for that, I'm definitely going to say he's going to the World Cup. Probably going to be a starter. Again, it might be a thing where him and Livramento might chop and change depending on the game. At least that's how I do it. But I think he'll definitely be part of that squad. Branthwaite, I don't think he's really kicked on as well as he was doing about 2 seasons ago. So for that, I'm going to say stay at home. This one is a bit of an interesting one, but John Stones, I'm going to say off the bench. Because John Stones, I feel like still has a lot to offer for this England team. Not only to mention the experience that he has, just being, multi-England international in terms of the caps. He's won it all in terms of Manchester City. he's definitely someone that is going to be key for this England team moving forward. And then the rest of the defenders, I think, unfortunately, are going to stay at home. Tomori has had a drop off completely. It's actually been quite shocking to see how much he's kind of regressed from how he was in AC Milan a couple of seasons ago when they won the Scudetto. But right now, I think he has to chill. And now we go on to the midfielders. And first name up is a key player, Declan Rice. I think that kind of speaks for itself, really. I don't think I need to really explain that one. Declan Rice is a sensational football player, so he's definitely going to be a key member of England's team. Adam Wharton, I think, is a player who, on his day, makes football look so easy and slow, and he plays football at his own pace. Again, his age might be a factor, but I honestly think Adam Wharton should be a starter for England when it comes to the World Cup, because the job that Elliot Anderson is doing currently in midfield for England, as Thomas Tuchel's kind of brought him out of nowhere, is sensational, don't get me wrong. But Adam Wharton takes it to another level. And for that, I'm going to say probably starting. Because Adam Wharton is a sensational football player. Honestly, watching him in midfield, control the tempo, link up play, put in some nice silky little passes. I'm almost inclined to say he's going to be a key player. But I guess because we haven't really seen him on this England senior stage, I can't really say that yet. But he is going to be very, very important for England in that World Cup. And I guess Jude Bellingham as well, key player. Yeah, I mean, again, Jude Bellingham, I guess people can say last season wasn't as great as his first season at Madrid. But I really, really do think Jude Bellingham has a lot to offer. Again, when we played with England, Jude Bellingham kind of speaks for itself. James Maddison, on the other hand, he's been injured. So for this season, he hasn't really got a tally. And for that, I'm going to put him in I don't know. Because again, James Maddison is one of those players where on his day, he's a sensational football player. Like, honestly, amazing. Next up, Kobbie Mainoo. Kobbie Mainoo, again, I feel like he's an interesting customer. Because I think Kobbie Mainoo has a lot to offer. Again, this really, really does depend on how Manchester United perform and if Amorim is ever going to bring him back into the fold and, have him as a serious starter in this team. As of right now, it's not looking good. And as of right now, it's looking like he might stay at home. But again, I feel like he's in a similar boat as like James Maddison, obviously for different reasons. But on his day, he is a very good player. And I'm going to say, I don't know. Because if he comes back into the fold for Manchester United and he starts performing like the way we know he can perform, Kobbie Mainoo could be a shoo-in for this team. Maybe not a starter, but someone that can definitely come in and make an impact. Conor Gallagher, on the other hand, I think off the bench, again, he's one of these players that can provide energy. One of these players that, I guess, under Simeone, he's kind of taken his game to a new level when it comes to the defensive work rate. And we've seen him at Crystal Palace in the Premier League. We know he can go forward and score goals. I feel like Conor Gallagher is an option that you definitely want to have on the bench. Can play a number of positions in the midfield. And if need be, when it comes to shutting up shop, if you're, I don't know, if you're like 1-0 or maybe even 2-0 up against a really, really good opponent, and maybe you want to give Reece James a rest or Trent a rest, play him out wide on the right. Because, again, he's not going to probably get forward like that. Let him defend. Let him keep the energy up on that wing side. I feel like he'd be a great option. And I feel like Conor Gallagher should definitely be in the World Cup squad. Next is Elliot Anderson. And again, I would bring him in. Because I feel like the performances that he's done this season, I guess over the last 6 months that Tuchel has been bringing him in, he has done really well. He hasn't put a foot wrong. And I feel like he's someone that we definitely need in this team. Jordan Henderson, on the other hand, I feel like his England career has come to an end. Me personally, I would not choose him. So for that, you're gonna be at home. You're gonna be streaming the game along with all the others. Curtis Jones is next, and Curtis Jones is he's an interesting one. I'm not too sure about him. And for that, I'm gonna put I don't know. Again, game time, how much how well he performs for Liverpool on the slot, we don't know. Harvey Elliott can stay at home. Morgan Gibbs White. Oh, this is a tricky one. Because we've already got 5, you've got 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 players. There's only 9 slots left. I feel like right now, Morgan Gibbs White, I don't know. It depends on who else we don't and do bring in. Jack Grealish, right now, hasn't done enough, in my opinion, to warrant himself back into this England team. I don't think he's done enough to get his plane ticket to America next summer. And for that, I'm going to say stay at home. And I think we just have better wide options. When it comes to players in the middle, I feel like Jack Grealish, we're not really seeing the strengths of him in the middle under, at Everton on loan right now, all the past years under City. I feel like he might be a player that has gotten into the England team under reputation. And I don't think we can make way for reputation. We need players that can play, players that are hungry, and players that are in great form and have been performing consistently. And this brings me on to my next one. It's a bit of a dilemma. Phil Foden. Because Phil Foden on his day is a sensational football player. Last season, or not last season, 2 seasons ago now, PFA Player of the Year. But last year, he did disappear. He's slowly getting back into good form now. So again, it's one of those where we've just kind of got to see with Phil Foden as the games go by, as the months go by leading up to the World Cup. We have to see what type of Phil Foden we're going to see. Are we going to see more of that PFA Player of the Year? Or are we going to see more of the Casper-friendly ghost that he's been for the last year, almost a year and a half? So for that, I'm going to put bench warmer. Because he could be on the bench. He might not start. For England, he doesn't really perform that well, but we'll see. Next up, Marcus Rashford. Someone who's moved to Barcelona and he's had a mixed bag of form. At the start of the season wasn't really firing, but he's really getting into his own. Beautiful goal in the Champions League. And I think, honestly, I want to say key player. I really want to, but I don't think I will. I'm going to put probably starting because Marcus Rashford is England's best left winger. I'm going to say it again because Marcus Rashford is England's best left winger. In terms of pure winger, someone that you need in terms of magic, someone that you need that can strike the ball, that can dribble past defenders. Marcus Rashford is sensational. And that leads us on to our next left winger who's kind of taken his spot, Anthony Gordon. I'm going to say off the bench because that pace is frightening. The pace that Anthony Gordon has is insane. Sometimes his end product isn't the best. People might argue with me. People might call me crazy for that. But this is my opinion. I'm just not completely sold on Anthony Gordon, the full package. Noni Madueke. If you had asked me this time last year, I would say Noni Madueke probably has to stay at home. However, since moving from Chelsea to Arsenal, his performances for Arsenal and his performances for England before he got injured were quite good. They were quite good. And for me, that warrants enough for him to be off the bench. 100%. Noni Madueke has to go to the World Cup. He might not play every game in terms of coming off the bench every game, but having him, again, kind of like Marcus Rashford, a winger that can do something off the cuff. A winger that has moments in him of flair, moments of unpredictability. That's kind of what you need in these tournaments, Again, like Noni Madueke is a player that has a lot of quality, bags of pace. And I think this season could be not breakout season, but it could be a standout season for him. And I feel like that will definitely give him a position in the England team. Thomas Tuchel said it himself, if he wasn't injured, he would be in the squad and Saka wouldn't for this current window. So I'm going to stick with that. And that leads me on to my next winger, Jamie Bino Gittins. I haven't seen enough of him in this Chelsea shirt. At Dortmund, again, he didn't quite light it on fire. He was good, but I'm not convinced just yet. And for that, I'm going to say I don't know. Because he could turn out in the next 6 months to be one of Chelsea's best wingers. He could start over Pedro Neto, maybe take over that left wing spot and nail it down for himself at Chelsea. I'm not too sure. He's still an unknown quantity. Bukayo Saka, key player, speaks for himself. Absolutely speaks for himself. In fact, I'm going to do Cole Palmer as well. I'm going to say key player. There's a little cameo we saw of him in the Euros against Spain in the final. Sensational. What he does for Chelsea week in, week out, sensational. He is a nailed-on key player. And I think should be a nailed-on starter for England. That midfield of Rice, Bellingham, Palmer, or Palmer, Bellingham, Wharton, Palmer, Rice, Wharton. That midfield, woo, ticking. Absolutely ticking. It will be sensational. Next up, Jared Bowen. And I think Jared Bowen has done enough to kind of cement himself as England's number 2 winger on the right hand side. He does really well for West Ham, always scores goals, puts up the numbers. He's a very consistent performer. For that, I'm going to say off the bench. It might be a bit tough having him, Madueke and Saka to kind of take up that right wing slot, but I honestly think we can make it work. I think we can make it work for sure. Morgan Rogers is, I don't know. Ball carrying wise, he is absolutely sensational. There are shades of Yaya Toure with him when the way he goes forward in terms of carrying it yards on yards on yards to the attack. But I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure if he has done enough right now to say yes, he's going to be in England's World Cup squad. I feel like again, this definitely relies on how Villa perform in the league. Right now in the league, they're performing pants. They're really, really bad in the league right now. But if he does, pick up his form, he could potentially take someone like Elliot Anderson's spot. He could potentially take, maybe in Phil Foden's spot if Phil Foden goes quiet again for this whole season. Tuchel has already proved himself to be someone who is going to select someone who deserves to be there. I know he's in this current England squad for the international friendlies, and he said he's someone with unbelievable talent, plays for the badge, works really, really hard, which is all very true. But the World Cup is the World Cup, and England, we want England to win the World Cup. So I'm not too sure yet. I'm not quite sold on him. Ethan Nwaneri, this is kind of the same, argument that I made for the likes of Kobbie Mainoo, the likes of even James Maddison. I think he has to stay at home for this one. Because last season was not a breakout season for him, but it was a season where, he kind of made his presence known a little bit. Wasn't a nailed-on starter, of course. The only reason he played so much last season is because of Arsenal's injuries. I think with Nwaneri, this tournament has come a bit too early for him. If it was in 2 years' time, then I'd say, yeah, Nwaneri probably be a shoo-in for this England squad. But right now, I just don't see how he breaks into the 26-man squad, especially with the minutes he's getting under Arteta right now. If that was to change throughout the season and he plays more and more and more, we all know what Nwaneri is capable of. And if he does do that, then yeah, I think he will be in the squad. But I'll put it as I don't know, because I've said that for Kobbie Mainoo as well. So I'm going to put that there. I'm going to put Ethan Nwaneri there on that I don't know. Jacob Murphy, stay at home. Jacob Murphy's good. But in terms of who we have on that right wing, on that right-hand side, you have Saka, of course, ahead of him. Bowen, of course, ahead of him. Madueke ahead of him. If we bring in Phil Foden as well, ahead of him. Cole Palmer, if he for some reason gets pushed out. There's so many options on the right-hand side for England. He just won't make it. Simple as. Same with Amari Hutchinson. Won't make it to the England squad. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's turning up for Jamaica now. So I don't even know why I put him here. Next one, key player, is definitely going to be Harry Kane. This man has scored 13 goals, I believe, in 7 games or something stupid. I honestly think he is getting better with age. People might say, oh, it's the Bundesliga, so, he's not that. I honestly think he's getting better with age. He's becoming a lot more team orientated. He's been doing this kind of dropping into midfield kind of since Mourinho took over at Tottenham. And it gives me shades of Rooney in his last years at Manchester United, doing a lot more for the team. And I'm all here for it. The guy's still bagging goals. The guy is a clinical, I think he's the best striker in the world, actually. Above the likes of Erling Haaland. I think he's more complete. He's probably the best striker in the world. Yeah, he's going to be a key player for England in this World Cup tournament. Ollie Watkins, off the bench. Again, speaks for itself. He's not going to be England's #1 right now. I don't know if he will be, because, next tournament even, when Harry Kane, if he's still banging, Harry Kane might retire after this. Who knows? Is he going to be England's #1? Will there be another young striker that will come up and usurp him? Who knows? But Ollie Watkins off the bench is a good option. A direct runner, someone who's very different from Harry Kane. And I think should definitely make it. Now, next is a bit of an interesting one. Ivan Toney is he's a player who we know a lot about, because obviously his time at Brentford. Since he's gone to Saudi, people haven't really been keeping tabs on him. And I'm going to say stay at home, mainly because I think he's too similar to Harry Kane. And I feel like in these tournaments, you need your set structure, and then you need some versatility, some dynamism, something that's going to come off the bench that's going to be completely different. And for me, I think Ivan Toney has to stay at home. And that's the same with Dominic Solanke, and that's the same with Callum Wilson. However, I would choose Liam Delap. I would choose Liam Delap as a bench warmer. And the reason why I choose Liam Delap as a bench warmer is because he is a bit different. Very aggressive runner. He doesn't really care who he's playing up against. He's going to smash into someone. And also, he can hit the ball at a crazy, crazy rate. He is a very clean player. I don't expect him to get any real minutes at the World Cup. Again, it could be a thing if we're playing, I don't know, someone like Iran and it's like 4-0, 5-0 up. He might come on and, get a bit of experience as a senior England player, maybe grab a goal that way. But I don't really see him as being an important player. On the bench, there for experience and there if he is needed. And this brings me on to my last player for some reason, Dan Burn. Again, I'd say probably starting because I think the fact that we are short of left-footed centre-halves or left-footed players in the defence, I feel like he'll be very important for Tuchel and very important for England. But there we have it. This is my 26-man squad. Wait. I've got to cut 2 people from this squad. O'Reilly goes down to I don't know. The next player that I would cut from this team would be Elliot Anderson. As an I don't know. And I feel like Elliot Anderson will just about miss out. And that's only because we already have that profile in the team. We have Wharton and we have Rice to play in that number 6. We don't necessarily need Elliot Anderson. If you wanted to say for the number 8, well, we've got Jude Bellingham, we've got Conor Gallagher, we've got Phil Foden as a creative player as well. I don't know. I might just cut him. Yeah, that makes sense. I think this team makes a lot of sense. But what do you guys think? Do you agree with my 26-man squad? Do you think this is correct? Do you think it's incorrect? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments down below. Be sure to subscribe because it's free. And why not? Join the team. And until next time, keep it real. And I'll see you when I see you in a bit.